Oh, there we go. Yo, what up, everybody? Welcome in, welcome in. Good morning. I was running a little bit late this morning. I actually didn't plan on going live today, but I finished up all my meetings. We had a little bit of dev work that needed to be done on the software, but we got it done in time, baby, as we do. So I'm gonna be here with you all. There's obviously some big announcement coming about from Trump about the tariff situation. Obviously, seems as if it's gonna be more related to the UK, our deal with the UK, and kind of a framework that I think is rather important. You guys know everyone's kind of been waiting with bated breath to see how all of these things that happen with the tariffs do impact the world of crypto, which is why we're not really seeing the crypto market going super crazy right now. Obviously, it's been decently pumping over the last 24 hours or so, but from a grand perspective, things have been kind of at a bit of a pause, I would say, recently. So with that in mind, obviously, I wanted to just jump on today with you all and just kind of watch the stream. We're going to watch the stream together. We're going to look at some charts. We're going to hang out probably 45, 50 minutes to an hour to 2 hours to 4 hours and about 8 hours. And yeah, that's about that. Bitcoin's currently at $99,700 to start off the day, looking pretty damn tindy. I did take a little bit of profits last night, as I did mention to you all in the video yesterday. I'm probably going to take a little bit more today. And yeah, keep the ball rolling here. But anywho, what's up, everyone? Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. I see ya, I see ya, I see ya. Tars is up 43%. We love to see it. I forgot to take profits. Can you spot me? I got you, G. ETH taking off. ETH at 2K, is it? Yep, looking at 2K. We love to see it. I think Sui is also going to rock. Yo, what up, Steinar? How's it going, champ? All right. Happy to see everyone in here. Paul, the one, Japio, Dennis, Stein, Edu. What's up, everyone? Happy to have you in today. John, how's it going, champ? Crow Nation is pumped. We love to see it. Yo, when did we break previous stream record of 4 hours? Well, I don't know. I don't know when that might never happen. Should I swap my VeChain for XRP? Maybe so. I don't know, champ. Anyway, look, I have the stream from the White House up. It is on my side right here, so I'll keep an eye on it. Let me actually turn the sound on so I'll hear it if they start talking. But let's just kind of jump into the charts for a little bit. Let's just see what the charts are doing for a while we're waiting for this good old stream today. Where do we start? Where the frick do we start here? Let's just start here, I guess. Looking at Bitcoin specifically, Bitcoin is in a bit of a precarious situation, to say the least. What we can see is that it is currently sat at the top side of that ascending channel. One thing that I did notice, hold on, give me 1 second. I feel like this is just too big. I feel like that's better. Okay. So what we can see is that Bitcoin is currently sat at the top side of this ascending channel right here. This is a very risky spot for Bitcoin to be in. It is generally extremely hard for Bitcoin to break the top side of ascending channels like this. And so because of that, the fact that it's just kind of sat up here is the reason why just last night I did take a little bit of profits off the table, took a little bit of profit here, closed down like 1% of my entire crypto portfolio. You know, I always say stuff like that, like, I'll say, I closed down 1% of my portfolio, 2%. And everybody's like, oh, big guy Tyler, he closed down 2% of his portfolio. And I know it doesn't sound like a big deal, but you have to kind of think about it, right? Like, that's 2% of my entire crypto portfolio in one trade. And it doesn't even matter, like, the dollar amount. It's more just the percentages that, like, you can only do that, 15, 20 times before now we're halfway out of the entire market, right? And so whenever I'm closing down 1%, 2%, 3%, I mean, these are big percentages. And so with that in mind, I did go ahead, I closed down 1% of my entire crypto portfolio again right here. And if we do look at my buy sell bubble sheet, you can kind of see how that's playing out. These red bubbles are all the times that I've taken profits over the last couple weeks here. We locked in some great profit here, right around that $85,000 threshold. Again, as we did go up for the extension push, and then we've locked in some great profits on Bitcoin, closing down roughly 7 to 8% of my entire crypto portfolio in this recent move, just because it's all in profit, right? It's easy to lock in these profits here, so why wouldn't we? I closed down a little bit here, a little bit more last night, and hey, if this puppy keeps pumping, guess what? I'm taking more profits off the table here. I do plan on doing some more buying at some point decently soon if we can get that higher low, which is what I am expecting at some point. You guys know I like to sweep the lows. Anytime we get these little moves downwards, I like to sweep these lows, try to gather some little buys that take profits as we push. And so I am looking for kind of, a nice little pull. Say, for example, if we see Bitcoin pull back to like 90K at some point, maybe it comes back towards this previous point of resistance. At that point, I would try to sweep those lows as well, lock in some more juicy green bubbles, try to get us some more profits locked in there. So obviously just kind of playing the waiting game right now. now, just continuing to take profits the higher we go, waiting for a pullback to where I can reinvest some of that profit and then obviously sweep those lows, looking for a nice move. There is a chance that if Bitcoin does start to pull back, that I am actually going to start entering into some low to medium leverage trades here. I am actually considering, if we can see Bitcoin pull back to $88,000, that I will start opening up some sort of a low leverage long trade, maybe 2, 3, 4x, something like that, trying to grab a nice little juicy gain there, because obviously I've been doing a ton of spot buying. I mean, this is all spot. These are spot buys, these are spot buys, these are spot buys, and this was just general profit taking on all these red bubbles. And I am kind of getting to a spot where I am understanding of where this market is, and I'm getting more and more confident to start jumping back in on a little bit of low leverage. And so my general idea is to start, maybe open up some sort of low leverage long trade. And I am understanding that, listen, if we lose $88,000, we have the golden zone down here. So it is going to be low leverage, so that if we do lose this support level, I can just increase that margin, jump it up, kind of pick that trade back up a little bit and double down on it the lower we get. But obviously willing to close it down if we start really capitulating. So that's why it'll be low leverage. I think opening up leverage long trades at the top of a pump is generally not a fantastic idea. If we look at this from a macro perspective, I know it doesn't feel like it, but the truth is we're very high. And so opening up leveraged long trades, continuing to bet that it's going to go higher and higher and higher at this point does get risky. So that's why I'm not opening up 50x, 100x. It just doesn't align with my general thesis of where we are right now. I'd be more inclined to open up short trades at a higher leverage amount than a long trade. But that doesn't mean that I don't think it can't continue upwards. I just know that the further up we go, the more risky it becomes. So if I am going to leverage, it is going to be low leverage. But primarily I am just focused on these spot buys, right? And I feel like we've been smashing it, just getting these buys in here, because, a lot of people made fun of me. It must have been in February. Yeah, right around this time. I'm keeping an eye on that video there, but around this time, right? Because I got these DCAs in right here. I got even DCAs in up here, right? And I got DCAs in right here, and these were little, but I mean, I did them. And a lot of people were saying, oh, Tyler, you bought Bitcoin at 95K, and we were at like $77,000 at the time. And I was like, give me time. Just give me time. I don't care what you say. Just give me time. And sure enough, I mean, look at it. All those purchases that I did, even at the top up here, guys, they're in profit now, right? And I took profit on a lot of it, right? Like a lot of the purchases that we did here, a lot of profit taking was done there. Just easy little gainers there. But even like the highest purchase that we did, which was at the bottom of this move, is now at a break even. This is why you want to be dollar cost averaging, guys. Like, this is why you want to freaking be dollar cost averaging, because if I'd have tried to time the bottom, I'd have probably ended up buying like back up here. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't have been able to time by the bottom. So I'm sweeping these lows, sweeping these lows, sweeping these lows, sweeping these lows. Now every single freaking purchase we've done, guys, since January is in profit. Like that's what you want to see. That's what you want to see. So where we are with Bitcoin right now is looking pretty juicy. I'm liking what we're seeing, looking pretty good here. Okay. I saw an interesting comment. I wanted to read it. Nico said, I'm starting to realize Tyler kind of operates like stock traders. Many say their job is ultimately to expect failure or to bet against that the market will fall to some extent, especially in good times. Exactly. 100%. Someone said no pullbacks. This thing is ready to rip. Well, when people say that it's not going to pull back is when I start to get a little bit nervous. Again, at the end of the day, we are still in this ascending channel. While we're in this, we are at constant threat of a pullback. That is objectively the truth. It is objective that there's an 80 to 90% chance that Bitcoin does pull to the bottom side of this channel. Now, it did fake out here, which does increase those chances of a breakout to the upside a little. I've noticed an increase of generally anywhere from 10 to 20%. So that does typically imply that Bitcoin has a better chance of breaking to the top side of this ascending channel than it generally would, but that chance is still roughly 20 to 30%. It's not very high whatsoever. So that is why I will continue to take profits here, because usually this will break down. That is like just normally what happens. Not all the time. Obviously, again, there have been moments in history where it has broken out. It's just not normal, so I'm not going to bet on that, right? And I'll just keep taking profits if we push higher. You guys know I am going to take a lot of profits at $101,000. That's just the top side of our golden zone there. But yeah, I do like this little melt up. This little melt up does look pretty sweet. Hopefully we can push that all-time high. That'd be cool. Obviously going to be a lot of resistance though. A lot of resistance around 101, a lot of resistance around that all-time high. So a lot of take profit levels. But yeah, looking sweet. Are you guys taking profits? I'm curious about that. It's funny because I feel like the market's been so shitty and everything's been so bad. But if you've been dollar cost averaging these lows, you're now in profit. It's cool. But yeah, anyway, so that's kind of where we're at with Bitcoin. I am just very skeptical of this ascending channel. They always make me a little nervous. So I'm just going to kind of sit back, watch, let that bad boy play out. We'll probably have a bit more of a decision once we start getting some more updates from Trump here, because he's, playing a big role on the economy right now. Looking at ETH, though, ETH's looking pretty tindy here. You remember I told you guys I would be willing to do a little bit of buying on ETH. I'm pretty sure I did. I don't remember if that was in here. I don't remember when that was. I can't remember. It's all good. But I was talking about in a recent live stream the fact that I would be willing to do a little bit of buying on ETH because it was in that golden zone. And you guys know, if there is a level that is possible, if it's possible to push the price of ETH back up, it's the golden zone. Look, I'm not a huge fan of ETH anymore, especially after being at Ethereum Denver. There have just been a lot of things that they're doing from more of a company perspective I just fundamentally disagree with. I don't like what they're doing. I think intrinsic value of their company has diminished a little bit. And so because of that, I'm not a gigantic fan of ETH anymore. But you have to respect ETH. ETH is here to stay, obviously. And there is a cause to say that ETH could be creating some sort of macro structure that could open it up for some sort of huge move. Now, does that happen? Obviously, I have no idea, guys, but it is possible. And so nonetheless, it is bouncing off the golden zone. It is doing a good job. There will be battles in front of ETH, right? Like, $2,100 is going to be a battle. You had this resistance here, you had this support here, you had this support here. That is going to act as resistance. And so the likelihood is I don't think ETH is just going to fly straight up. I think it is going to be kind of a choppy little battle that it's going to have trying to push upwards. But there is no reason why ETH can't push back up to, $3K one day or $2,500 one day. I've said that pretty consistently, which is why I've not sold my ETH. I obviously have not really done a ton of buying, but I have been doing tiny DCAs and obviously just kind of leaving it alone for the time being. But the fact that it is bouncing off that golden zone is a great sign. And so, yeah, I do generally like what I'm saying. There is still some room to run here on that daily RSI. Your Bollinger Bands are a bit overextended now, but we've not really pushed that trend upward, so that's not super concerning yet. You look at your Elliott's waves, and there is reason to believe we could have finalized that short-term C wave there. All these things to me kind of just say that ETH definitely could continue this momentum upwards, especially over the next coming time, days, weeks here. Structurally, though, there is still some obviously, some progress that needs to be made. What you can see here for ETH is that it's not even broken out of this descending channel that it created. And so again, there's still going to be battles, right? You have this horizontal resistance, you have this diagonal resistance. There's all this stuff in front of ETH that is going to be a bit of a challenge. So I wouldn't be rushing. Like, don't feel like you need to just FOMO into ETH right now. I think you will have opportunities and little consolidatory moments, little pullbacks, just little things like that will open up that door for an upside move. So ETH looks pretty good. I do like what I'm seeing, but let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. Everyone's like, ETH is so back, it's so back. But the reality is it's not even set a higher high. It's not reversed the trend. It's not broken structure. It's just holding support. That's all it's doing. So no need to kind of FOMO this bad boy right now, I don't think. Okay. Yeah. Maybe I don't remember when you made... I just talked about that. I just did talk about that like a few minutes ago, just kind of saying fundamentally I disagree with what the Ethereum Foundation has been doing, which is why I'm not doing gigantic purchases on it. And it wasn't trashing ETH. I do kind of, this space does get a little annoying sometimes because, you say something critical and it's trashing. It's not trashing. I'm just saying, listen, the Ethereum Foundation is not dedicating enough time to helping its developers, and that is going to be fundamentally a part of the reason why it's not performing well. And I don't like that. I disagree with that. And that's the reason why I do prefer Solana. And that's all I was saying. So, anywho, is it too late to buy ETH? I mean, no, not particularly, I don't think. Again, you have to consider the fact that it's not broken back above this previous zone of liquidity. There's liquidity there, diagonal resistance, horizontal resistance. I mean, there's all these things here that need to happen. It's just very early stages if it is going to start to recover. If I had to guess where ETH could run to, I see no reason as to why it can't push $2,700 to try to go bottom side golden zone after maintaining bottom side golden zone here. Yeah. Anyway, let's see. Yeah, no worries at all, Gabriel. Let's see what Solana's up to. Solana's doing okay. Solana's just made a little bit of better steps than ETH has, and this is kind of a part of what I'm talking about. Solana in general has been performing better. What you can see here is, Solana has now officially set that higher high. There is reason to believe that Solana has technically set a higher low, although I'm not super into that thought here. But what you can see is that, Solana broke out of the descending structure, cleared this liquidity zone, set the higher high. this bad boy is looking juicy, dude. Like Solana pushing back up towards $190 is probably pretty likely. I'm not saying for sure it's going to happen right now. Like, you never know. We might double bottom. We might, sideways leaning inverse head and shoulders. We might cup and handle. Like, it might take a while. But I do think Solana's probably going to push that 190 zone again. So it's looking pretty juicy here. Obviously, a little bit of liquidity that it is going to run into. Like, I don't think it's going to be an easy task. I don't think we're just going to do this. But Solana is looking pretty juicy from a macro perspective. I am actually curious what the whales are doing. Oh, here it is. What are the whales doing with Solana right now? Seeing a lot of shorting here. Look at these shorts, dude. These shorts are getting freaking wrecked. It's so funny. I mean, obviously, I feel for them. Obviously, you never really want somebody to be you never really want somebody to be getting wrecked here. But at the end of the day, I mean, I tell people all the time, like shorting in a bull market is just a very risky thing to do. And until Bitcoin loses macro levels of support, we are still in a bull market. I've said it consistently. And so the fact that you're seeing this, I mean, look how brutal this is, dude. Down 200K, down 400K, down 400K, 400, 900 big ones. You could have just gave it to me, bruh. 60K, 60K. I mean, getting obliterated. And look at these long traders, guys. Up $1,000,000, up 200, up 260, up 228. I mean, we love to see it. Look at this shit right here. Up $3.3 million, which is only a 7% unrealized gainer there. Margin 2.29%. Funding fees. Ugh. Paying heavy funding fees, but I mean, overall smashing this trade right now. This is absolutely beautiful. So the whales are going nutty. I don't know what this search button does. I'm curious. Oh, I think that actually searches addresses. Never mind. But yeah, not seeing too much. We obviously had a pretty big long trade open on Sol there. Open up a short trade is interesting play. This is interesting. Close that long trade. Locked in that profit. We love to see it. Lock in profits. Who cares? Yeah, looking good. Let me see how this is updated. We're starting to see a little bit of a favoring towards our long trades, but we are still seeing a general decent balance amongst the whales. 1.38 billion in longs, 1.38 billion in shorts, but there is a bit of a difference by about 0.10%. Overall funding fees, longs are still collecting those freaking fees, which is good to see. Shorts are getting demolished, longs are smashing it. The whales who are longing are just absolutely demolishing the market right now. The question, does it keep up? The question is, does it keep up or not? Because you look at your liquidation map. This thing is starting to really dry up. Like 30-day is looking a little disgusting. I'm not gonna lie. Like there is still a little bit of liquidation. That like $101,000 will bring another near $2 billion worth of liquidations. But I mean, we're over 20 billion to the downside. This is definitely spooky. Like I would be a liar if I said this wasn't pretty damn spooky. Because we are at the top side of this ascending channel, and I've said this pretty consistently, but like we're at the top side of this channel. We are seeing bearish divergence forming on the RSI. We're completely overextended on the Bollinger Bands. Like the daily is the only one that we're not even top side, but we're extremely close. And so it kind of makes me feel like if we do see Bitcoin push to say 101 or 102, it's going to be very hard for it to not pull back. And that's why I'm kind of telling people, like, I just don't particularly think now is the time to be panicking. Like, I don't think people need to just be aping in everything. I think there are going to be moments where it gives you time to, to get in. I don't think we're just going to go straight up. Now, I could be wrong. I mean, look what happened back here. Like, for example, back here, we did see a little bit more of a micro ascending channel right there, right? So we went up into it, micro ascending channel, and then we literally just pumped, and we didn't get the opportunity to kind of get in once the pump started. And we had the bearish divergence forming, we had everything, it just continued to pump. So I'm not 100% certain on that, but whenever we were back here, we didn't have the same levels of liquidations as we do right now. So to me, it's kind of just like, it's a bit of a 50-50. Obviously, FOMOing in right now is a crazy choice. Like, I think that's a bit of a crazy choice. Like, to me, if you hadn't been dollar cost averaging bottom side of the HMZ, if you hadn't been dollar cost averaging bottom side of the descending channel, starting to try to just ape in right now is just a crazy, I think it's just a crazy move. Someone said that Trump started the live. Let me look. I don't think that. No, I'm not seeing that.
President in a little while, a little bit later, and we appreciate that. But the deal is all now signed up and ratified, and we have access to a massive amount of very, very high quality rare earth. This morning, I'm thrilled to announce that we've reached a breakthrough trade deal.
Oh shit! Hold on. Okay, we're on. We're live. Give me a minute. I'm gonna go back a little bit just so we can
The United Kingdom, incredible country, high quality rare earth. This morning, I'm thrilled to announce that we've reached a breakthrough trade deal with the United Kingdom, incredible country. Today is a victory day for World War II. We won the war together exactly 80 years ago, so there could be no more perfect morning to reach this historic agreement. And it's beautiful weather out. I will tell you that, Keir, beautiful weather. It's so perfect outside. But it's really, in particular, the agreement with one of our closest and most cherished allies. And we're so happy that that's the way it worked out. I want to thank Prime Minister Starmer and his very talented team for their outstanding work and partnership. Today's agreement with the UK is the first in a series of agreements on trade that my administration has been negotiating over the past 4 weeks. With this deal, the UK joins the United States in affirming that reciprocity and fairness is an essential and vital principle of international trade. The deal includes billions of dollars of increased market access for American exports, especially in agriculture, dramatically increasing access for American beef, ethanol, and virtually all of the products produced by our great farmers. And our Secretary, as you know, of Agriculture is here. Brooke, thank you very much for being here.
Thank you, sir.
You'll let the farmers know. In addition, the UK will reduce or eliminate numerous non-tariff barriers that unfairly discriminated against American products. But this is now turning out, I think, really to be a great deal for both countries, because it'll be really great for the UK also. So they're opening up the country. Their country is a little closed, and we appreciate that. They'll also be fast-tracking American goods through their customs process, so our exports go to a very, very quick form of approval, and there won't be any red tape. Things are going to move very quickly both ways. The final details are being written up in the coming weeks. We'll have it all very conclusive, but the actual deal is a very conclusive one. We think just about everything's been approved. So good for both countries, and we'll also receive new market access for American chemicals, machinery, and many other industrial products that weren't allowed, and they'll end up getting products that they'll be able to price, and if they like them better and we make great products, they'll be buying those products, but they were not available in the UK. Furthermore, in a historic step, the deal includes plans that will bring the United Kingdom into the economic security alignment with the United States. That's the first of its kind. So we have a big economic security blanket, and that's very important. And we feel very, very comfortable with that, because it's been a great ally, truly one of our great allies. I mean, a lot of people say our greatest ally. I don't want to insult people by saying that, but I can say it's certainly one of our greatest, and right at the top. And they're the first one we're talking about. And by the way, we have many meetings planned today and tomorrow, and every country wants to be making deals. And we have a meeting, as you know, Scott will be going over to Switzerland on Saturday, and that'll be very, very interesting. We'll find out, but I think they want to make a deal very badly too. Both countries have agreed that the economic security is national security, and will be working together as allies to ensure that we have a strong industrial base, appropriate export controls, and protections for key technologies and industries like steel. Steel is a big factor. Both countries will become stronger with steel and things necessary for military. You know, we used to build ships and other things literally at a level that nobody's ever seen, and we haven't, we've eased up, and I would say that the UK certainly eased up, but now we're going to be uneasing both, and we work together. Once again, I want to thank Prime Minister Starmer. He's been terrific for his partnership in this matter. The special relationship and external bond, it's really an external and an internal bond between our two countries, will soon be stronger than ever before. And we really do. We have a great relationship. I want to just say that the representatives of UK have been so professional, and it's been an honor doing business with all of them, and in particular the Prime Minister. And I'd like to introduce him now to say a few words. Mr. Prime Minister, please take it away.
Thank you, Mr. President, Donald. And this is a really fantastic, historic day in which we can announce this deal between our two great countries. And I think it's a real tribute to the history that we have of working so closely together. Can I pay tribute, Donald, to your negotiating team as well, particularly
Yes.
Howard and Jameson, who've done an incredible job, a very professional job, and my team as well. Two negotiating teams have worked at pace now for a number of weeks to bring in this deal today. Really important deal. This is going to boost trade between and across our countries. It's going to not only protect jobs but create jobs, opening market access. And as you say, Donald, the timing couldn't be more apt, because not only was it 80 years ago today that victory came for Europe after and at the end of the Second World War, but of course on that day the UK and the US stood together as the closest of allies. And Donald, I think even down to the hour, because you may or may not know that it was about this time of day, exactly 80 years ago, that Winston Churchill announced victory in Europe, and that led to great celebrations across Europe, across America, but particularly in the United Kingdom. Literally people going out into the street, putting bunting up, going up to the palace. And so to be able to announce this great deal on the same day, 80 years forward, almost at the same hour, and as we were 80 years ago, with the UK and the US standing side by side, I think is incredibly important and makes this truly historic. That close relationship has endured over those 80 years. As you know, Donald, when it comes to defence and security and intelligence sharing, of course, there are no two countries that are closer than our two countries. And now we take this into new and important territory by adding trade and the economy to the closeness of our relationship. It is built, as you say, on those notions of fairness and reciprocal arrangements. We've always had a fair and balanced arrangement between our countries. This builds on that, hugely important for sectors like car manufacturing and for steel and aluminium and so many others. And yes, we can finish ironing out some of the details, but there's a fantastic platform here, including, of course, on the tech side, where I think I'm right in saying we're the only two Western countries with trillion-dollar sectors when it comes to tech. And in the end, it comes down to, as you say, Donald, economic security is national security. On national security, we've been absolutely the closest of allies for so many years, keeping the peace through that close alliance, that friendship. And now we add to that this deal on trade and the economy. And I want to thank you for your leadership on that, Donald, and for the way in which your team have negotiated this. And I'm so pleased that we've got this deal, we've finalised it, and we've built an incredible platform for the future. So thank you so much. Donald, I'm now going to go and do a press conference. I think you have your press in with you. But on the details, I think if you've got Howard, we can deal with that through one of my team.
That's great. Well, Mr. Prime Minister, thank you very much. It's an honor. We're going to have a continued, maybe a better relationship than ever before. You know, I don't know if the media knows, but the US and UK have been working for years to try and make a deal. And it never quite got there, but
Yeah.
it did with this Prime Minister. So I want to just congratulate you.
Well, with this President, this Prime Minister, we've managed to achieve what many people have tried to achieve for many years.
That's right.
And I'm really pleased, and it feels completely historic and on a special 80-year anniversary as well. So, Donald, thank you so much. It's really good to have got this deal over the line. Tribute to both teams, tribute to our countries, and tribute to your leadership.
Thank you. Well, it really is a great thing. And you go do your press conference, and I'll see you soon. Maybe speak to you later. But thank you very much, and an incredible thing. I can't tell you that for so many years, even as I sat, everybody talked and talked and talked about a deal with, it just seemed like a natural deal, but it was not done, but now it was done with us. So I feel very proud to have been a part of it. Keir, thank you very much.
Thanks, Donald, and we'll speak again soon.
Very good. So long. Bye. Why don't I do this? Why don't I have our Secretary of Commerce, Howard Lutnick, give a little description of the deal pretty quick, and then the good side, the very nice side, we'll be speaking about it also, maybe, from so you get a pretty equal. I think it's a very, it's just been a deal that was, we thought, very complicated. It became very simple. It's opening up the country that we really didn't have the kind of access to that I would have thought. I was surprised. I think it's why the deal never got done before. It was, you know, they've been working on this deal for 25 years, and we got it done, and we got it done. Really, it's going to be great for both countries. So, Howard, if you could go, and then somebody else, you may have, you'll pick whoever you want who'd like to do it. I have a feeling you're going to do it, right? So you guys go ahead, and then we'll take questions right after that. But I think you'll get a pretty good understanding of how big it is. It's a very large deal, very big deal, and Howard, go ahead.
So the UK is the 6th largest economy in the world and the 4th largest that we export to, right? So it's a huge market, a top 10 market. If you remember Liberation Day, they were at 10% because we have balanced trade with the UK, right? They say they have a surplus, but of course that counts gold bullion, which is, so let's just call it balanced trade. So how do you open up a market in balanced trade? People think it's impossible. They've always thought it was impossible until President Trump came on the scene and changed the way things work. So here's what we've got. We've opened up new market access, ethanol, beef, machinery, all the agricultural products. They've agreed to open their markets, and that will add $5 billion of opportunity to American exporters. So the question is, why would they do that now? Because they've never done it before. And we still have our 10% tariff on, which will produce $6 billion of revenue for the United States. So the idea was, how do they keep their jobs, protect their economy, and do the best for their people while opening the market for us? And the way is they studied it, their team was exceptional, and they tried to figure out the markets that they're importing from other people and try to send them over to America. So why were they always favoring others and not us? And what they've done is they've found the ways to do that so that we have new access, right? But the UK workers are protected, and that was the balance. So we did a deal with them in automobiles, and you know, if you're not building here, we charge you a 25% tariff. But the president, and by the way, I want to make this clear, while Jameson and I worked hard, this was the president's deal, and people think, oh, that's not the way it works. If you got to sit next to him, I have the best deal maker to my left, and if you don't think that we take advantage of him calling the prime minister and getting that deal done, you don't understand who's the president of the United States. So he's the closer. He gets deals done that we could never get done because he understands business, he understands deals, and that's why we're here today. So he agreed they could send 100,000 cars into America and only pay a 10% tariff. And that protects their car industry. And remember, we do 16 million cars a year. So this is only like 0.6%. But for the UK auto people, this is tens of thousands of jobs that the president agreed that he would protect for them. So he made that deal, right? Then steel and aluminum. Right? Their steel business has been destroyed like everybody else has been destroyed by people dumping steel into their markets. And British Steel had announced it was closing down. So the British government, as part of this deal, nationalized British Steel, and they're going to match the kinds of models we do. They'll put tariffs on, they'll put quotas on. They want to do it with America so they can be part of the resurgence of steel and aluminum in America, and that saves them, again, thousands and thousands of jobs. So if you go step by step, aero and commercial planes, they sell Rolls-Royce engines to Boeing. We've agreed, to let Rolls-Royce engines and those kind of plane parts to come over tariff-free. And what you're going to hear today is there's going to be an announcement in the UK that they are buying $10 billion worth of Boeing planes later today, but I'm going to let the name of the airline announce it because that's theirs to do it. Part of this deal was always to do it together and to do it strong, and you can see the numbers on this board. Everything about this board works exceptionally well for the United States of America. It lays out the plan that you can work with us in autos, you can work with us with aero and commercial, you can work with us in pharmaceuticals if you have a supply chain that is secure and protected in national security. So we feel really good about the deal. You've heard the Prime Minister, he feels really good about the deal, right? And we started at 10% and we ended at 10%, and the market for America is better, and this is a perfect example of why Donald Trump produced Liberation Day. People don't understand. He gets things done in a matter of time. This would have taken Jameson and I 3 years, maybe. And instead, we got it done in 45 days, certainly, because we worked for Donald Trump. So, Jameson, my partner in all this, maybe Jameson, you'd like to talk a little, and then we'll turn it over to the UK.
Sure, happy to do that. Everyone has great remarks. I just have to echo the President and the Prime Minister when we talk about VE Day. This is something we've been waiting for decades, and there is no more appropriate day to do this. And when we step back and we look back a few weeks from now or months from now or years from now, we're going to look back at this day and better appreciate the significance, I think. And I'll just say as well, in terms of negotiating, I mean, the UK negotiators, you know, we've got one right here, did an incredible job, right? This is why you win wars, right? When you act like this. And the ambassador, he knows more about trade than a lot of us here based on his background. And I would say on this deal, Mr. President, what we've shown is that it is time to change the way we do trade. People said we couldn't do a global tariff. We did a global tariff. They said no one would want to deal with us. People want a deal. They said no one give offers. You saw that stack of offers I showed you yesterday, all those countries. Said we wouldn't get deals, and here we are with a deal with the 6th largest economy. We've agreed to have fair and reciprocal trade, and we've done it in record time.
Thank you very much.
Sir.
Great job.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Ambassador, please.
Well, Mr. President, thank you very much indeed in hosting us this morning. And thank you very much indeed also for that very typical 11th hour intervention by you with your phone call to the President, demanding even more out of this deal than any of us expected. So thank you for that. The Prime Minister was delighted, obviously, to take that call late at night. But you took it to another level, and I think the point I would make is twofold. One is that if we're going to rebalance and rebuild international trade in a way that serves all our interests, then we're better doing that together than separately and apart, and that's what we're on a mission to do. But secondly, you've done what you said you would do. You said to the Prime Minister when he came and we visited in the Oval that you would do a good trade deal with the United Kingdom, that you would do it at pace, and that we would be first. And you have delivered that. You know, you've been true to your word. So thank you very much indeed for that. For us, it's not the end. It's the sort of it's the end just of the beginning. I mean, there is yet more we can do in reducing tariffs and trade barriers so as to open up our markets to each other even more than we're agreeing to do today. But it also provides us with the platform, the springboard, to do what I think will be even more valuable for both our countries in the future, and that's creating a technology partnership between the United States and the United Kingdom so that we can harness science and technology in order to create future industries and future jobs, and to do that together in the way we work so closely already in the national security and defense area. We can just take that to yet further areas of science, enterprise and endeavor. So we're looking forward to doing that in the coming months. You've launched us extremely well today. It just, in my view, as the Prime Minister has said, just shows what two countries who trust each other, who are confident in each other and are familiar with each other can do, not just for ourselves, but for those, the rest of the world, who need to benefit from a bigger and better international trading system.
Thank you very much. It was beautifully stated. What a beautiful accent, too. I'd like to have that accent. Thank you.
My mother would be proud.
Thank you very much. Any questions?
James Matthews from Sky News.
Yes.
Can I ask, why Britain and why now? And you've described this deal as a full and comprehensive deal, and yet we've just heard from Mr. Mandelson, it's the end of the beginning. Clearly, there's much more work still to do. With respect, are you overstating the reach and significance of this deal? Because you're a president who needs a result at a difficult time.
I think that it's a great deal for both.
Hell of a
parties.
question.
It's for us, we're opened up. I didn't know how closed it was. Quite closed, the market, as you know, the UK, and it opens up a tremendous market for us, and it works out very well, and a lot of assets. You see the chart, and those are tremendous assets. But we've been trying, and when you say why us, meaning your country, we've been trying for years, and they've been trying for years to make a deal, including when I was in the, first term. It would always be people talking, but they weren't getting it done. But for 25 years before that, they were trying always to make a deal, a very significant deal. I actually, until I looked at the numbers, I didn't realize this is a very conclusive deal, but we think we can grow it even from that. But this is a maxed out deal, not like you said it. You said it really incorrectly. This is a maxed out deal that we're going to make bigger, and we make it bigger through growth. But we have tremendous assets involved. I was surprised to see how big your country is in trade, actually. One of the biggest in technology and so many other things. It's agriculture. I really didn't know. It's depending on your definition, it's from 4 to 5 to 6. That's pretty big in the world. So I was very impressed by that. But we're going to take it to new levels. It's a very big deal right now, but I think it is going to grow just of its own volition. It's going to grow, and over time there'll be changes made. There'll be adjustments made because we're flexible. We'll see things that we can do even better. But it's very conclusive, and we think everyone's going to be happy, and the people of your country are going to be very impressed with the result, and they'll be able to buy from more people. They'll be able to price things differently. They'll be able to get some products that aren't available to them now that we make better than anybody in the world. And it's just something that it's a great thing that it came together. It's so nice because we have many countries want to make a deal, and many countries are very unhappy that we happen to choose this one, to be honest with you. But it's a long time, our oldest ally, or just about. I guess a couple of people claim that too, but let's put it right at the top. I think it's going to be something very special for UK and special for the United States.
Mr. President,
Yeah, please.
thank you, Mr. President. Reagan Reese with the Daily Caller. How close are you to more deals, and when do you expect the next to be announced?
Well, very close. We have numerous deals. I know Howard's going back. As soon as this is finished, your press conference, he's got numerous. And Scott, who's right over here, who's fantastic, by the way. You were great on television this morning. I watched you. You gave them a little lesson in the world and economics. But Scott's going to be going to Switzerland, meeting with China, and they very much want to make a deal. We can all play games. Who made the first call? Who didn't make it? Doesn't matter. It only matters what happens in that room. But I will tell you that China very much wants to make a deal. We'll see how that works out. Every country throughout the last 40, 50 years has literally ripped off the United States on trade, on military, on protection, on all the different things. And we are now making fair deals. And in this case, it's great because we really weren't very much involved. You have the European Union, which is, I think you made the right decision years ago. I don't know if you remember, I was opening up Turnberry the day that you were voting. And they asked me, would it happen or would it not happen? I said, no, I think they're going to go their own separate way. I think it's better for them. And they did. I think it's going to end up being a very smart decision. But a big part of that decision was always that you'd be able to make a deal with the United States. And they were unable to do that but now they made it, and it's a tremendous, it's very important. That was always a big part of your decision on Brexit, and they were never able to make that deal. It was, it was a tough one, and this one was. It's amazing with time. This one just went very smoothly, went quickly and smoothly, and a lot of common sense, as I like to say. It's tremendous common sense, but it's going to make your country much bigger in terms of trade, and it's going to make our country much bigger in terms of trade too. Yes, sir.
Thank you for
Go ahead behind you.
Okay. Tom Bateman at the BBC. Thank you, Mr. President. You mentioned meat.
You're with who?
The BBC.
Oh, good, very nice. They treat me beautifully.
You mentioned meat and beef exports. The UK currently doesn't accept American beef because of its own food standards. Are you calling on the UK to accept all American beef and chicken products?
Well, I think they'll take what they want. We have plenty of it. We have every type. We have every classification you can have. As you know, Bobby Kennedy is doing a tremendous job, and he's, I think, probably heading toward your system with no chemical, no this, no that. I think we're heading that way, it seems to be. And but we have that also. So we're a very big country. We have a lot of beef. We're a very big country, so it'll be great. Yes, yes,
Do you want me to jump in?
yes.
Let's talk about American beef really quickly, and it can't be understated. I'm Brooke Rollins,
Yo,
by the way.
who cares
how
about
important this
beef?
deal is and what this means to American farmers and ranchers. Specific to the beef, this is going to exponentially increase our beef exports. And to be very clear, American beef is the safest, the best quality, and the crown jewel of American agriculture for the world. So I think a really important part of this deal isn't just the ethanol reducing of tariffs from 19 to 0, which for our row croppers is a huge deal, but also for beef. And as we move forward, I know our incredible trade team is looking at all of the meats, all of the produce, really all of our agriculture exports. And I don't know if there's an industry that has been treated more unfairly and has suffered more than our agriculture industry. So we look forward to, I'll be in the UK on Monday, talking to my counterpart over there for next week, and look forward to moving that out across the country. The president is
I think
incredible.
we could say that we have the best in the world, best tractors, the best everything in the world. And they say that our agriculture is, second to none, you understand. And it'll be a great asset. People are going to be able to have options, choice, and they'll have more of it. And that usually means lower prices. How about we'll do you and then you? Go ahead.
Follow-up question for the Italian TV, Daniele Compatangelo, LA7, TV 2000, Primetime Media. So congratulations for the deal. We see a big revenues from the chart. But what's the rest of Europe? It's a victory day, but other European countries, it seems like they're losing the
We
train.
intend to make a deal with Europe. We have found that the European Union treated us extremely unfairly, very difficult, and hurt themselves in doing so. And they very much want to make a deal. We'll be dealing with them. We are dealing with them currently. So that'll cover pretty much the rest of it. But this was separate because of Brexit in particular. This was a separate deal. It always seems so natural. I mean, all the media would say that this seemed to be like, why did this happen 25 years? Why didn't it happen a long time ago? And it was always amazing to me. Somebody would say, hey, we got to make a deal. We have to make a deal. But this deal just fell into place. The Prime Minister did a fantastic job. His representatives are total professionals, and they got along well, and it just seemed to work. And I think one of the reasons it did is because we blew up the whole system. If we would have just been dealing with you separately or, country by country, we blew up the whole system. It was very fair to very unfair to the United States. And I think because of that, this worked out so nicely. And I'm honored that it was the first deal. Please.
Sir, you mentioned
Well, why don't you go in the back, yes?
Oh, thanks. I'm with the London Times. I would say this is a great day for James Bond because now Aston Martins will be available to American buyers. But it'll be even better by extending it to film. You've talked about a big tariff on films, and we'd like to know if there'd be relief on British.
Well, we're going to have a discussion on that separately. And as you know, we're putting tariffs on that particular film, he said, the movie makers. And we're going to be doing some tariffs to get them because a lot of them have left this country. They all live here. The money comes from here. Everything comes from here, but they make them in other countries. So we're going to do something to bring them back, maybe to a large extent. But James Bond has nothing to worry about that, I can tell you. James Bond. And you know, Sean Connery was a friend of mine. Sean Connery was responsible for my getting zoning in Aberdeen. He said, let the bloody bloke build his golf courses. And, you know, I was like 4 years into the process, and it was impossible in Aberdeen. And he, I don't know, he just stood up one day and he said that. As soon as he said that, I got the approvals in about 2 minutes. So he was a great guy, Sean Connery, and great character.
Later in the year, are you going back to? Are you going to Scotland and to the?
I will be, sure. It's great. We have a lot of investment over there. We have Turnberry, Aberdeen. We have, as you know, in Doonbeg in Ireland, right on the ocean. They're all on the ocean. I only have interest if they're on the ocean, and we have good investments over there. Been beautiful. Yes.
Mr. President, if the talks go well this weekend between Secretary Bessent and Ambassador Greer with their Chinese counterparts, not preemptively, but if the talks go well, would you then consider lowering the tariff rate on China?
Well, it could be. I mean, we're going to see. Right now, you can't get any higher. It's at 145, so we know it's coming down. I think we're going to have a very good relationship. You know, I always got along very well with President Xi. That relationship was greatly disturbed by COVID when COVID came in, but we get along very well now. I mean, the relationship was hurt with a lot of people, a lot of countries when COVID came in. But I think we're going to have a very good relationship. I expect to have a very good relationship with China, Scott. I think it's a very friendly meeting. They look forward to doing it in an elegant way. China, as you know, has a tremendous trade surplus with us, and we just can't have that. And but I think it's going to be very good for both countries. I would like to see China opened. You know, one of the big things here is, and nobody would know this, but the UK was largely closed. It was very much closed to trade, and now it's opened. And a lot of the financial reporters are very happy about that because so much. I've listened to them. Oh, I hope they get countries opened up, and then you compete on a fair basis. But you can't compete when you're not allowed to go there. China would be the #1 example of that. You know, it's very closed. We almost had it last time before COVID, and that didn't work out. But we made a great deal with China. They had to buy $50 billion worth of our food products, and it was a great deal, doing very well for our farmers. And then when Biden came in, as usual, nothing happened. You know, he didn't enforce it, and it got less, and ultimately, you know, it destroyed a great deal. That was a great deal. But no, I think that we're going to have a good weekend with China. I think they have a lot to gain. I do think they have far more to gain than we do in a sense, but we're going to have I think we're going to have a very good weekend.
Will you speak to Xi after the weekend talks?
I might, yeah, sure, depending on what Scott says. We Scott is doing certain countries, and Howard's doing certain countries. I mean, I wish I had like 10 more of each, then we could do them all at one time. But there will be a time we'll do a number of them, and then there'll be a time.
Yo, Bitcoin is flying, bro.
We're just going to say, because we understand the countries, we understand what they want, where we're just going to make the deal. In other words, we don't need the country involvement because we've already had it. And we'll say this particular country, which had big surpluses, let's say, we had therefore deficits, that this particular country is going to pay a 25% tariff, or 30%, or 50%, or 10%, or whatever it may be. I think we should explain it now, Howard. One of the things we did here that we'll rarely do is on cars, we took it from 25 to 10 on Rolls-Royce, because Rolls-Royce is not going to be built here. I wouldn't even ask them to do that. You know, it's a very special car, and it's a very limited number too. It's not, you know, one of the monster car companies that makes millions of cars. They make a very small number of cars that are super luxury, and that includes Bentley and Jaguar. So we have some very special cars. So in order to help that industry, and that's really, you know, handmade stuff. And they've been doing it for a long time in the same location. And I said, yeah, that would be good. Let's help them out with that one. But that's different than a car company that comes out and makes millions of cars, which they'll be doing in our country. They're going to build, we have many factories, car plants being built or going to be built very soon. I think we can say that we'll be close to $10 trillion of investment. I think we're actually at that number now if you add up some of the ones we haven't heard about yet. I mean, we have some going up right now. They have plants going up, and they haven't even spoken to us. They're doing it because of the tariffs. And tariffs have always been used against us, and I never understood. I used to sit back. As you know, China paid hundreds of billions of dollars in tariffs when I was president. But until then, China never paid anything. And, you know, they really did a big number on us from the standpoint of trade. But we are using tariffs now for our benefit. And we have now close to $10 trillion. Think of that, $10 trillion. If you look at the past administration, and we're talking about over, you know, essentially 2 months, because we could say 3, but it took a little while to get the office in perfect shape, right? It took a little while to get things done. But once we started, when you think of that, close to $10 trillion of investment, you've had years where the United States wouldn't do that in a whole, wouldn't do $1 trillion in a year, wouldn't do anywhere near $1 trillion. We did $10 trillion in 2 months. So it's amazing what's happening. We're getting calls from, and that has to do with chips, has to do with cars. We used to make chips. We had Intel, and we used to make chips. We had a monopoly on chips. Everything was made here. And now, over a period of years, because of presidents that didn't know what they were doing, they allowed that business to be stolen from us. Most of it moved to Taiwan. And you probably were in the same position, right? Because you had a lot of the chip-making capacity, but they moved it in. And if we would have said, that's fine, if you want to move it to Taiwan, that's good, but if you want to sell back into the United States, we're going to put a 50% or 100% tariff on, they would have never left. But we had people sitting here that didn't understand that, and it's too bad. But now they're coming back, because I'm saying it about 40 years too late, but they're coming back. As you know, we have the biggest chip makers in the world spending, in one case, $300 billion, in one case, $500 billion. Same as Apple, and in another case, $200 billion, and we're going to have a large share, a very, very substantial share of the chip-making market.
You said that this weekend is going to be a friendly visit, but do you expect that it will just be a formality to break the ice, or are they going to get into substantive negotiations?
I believe so, yes. I believe it's substantive, yes. I think people like to say, yes, we're having a meeting to meet. Well, we're meeting, so what are we going to do, talk about meeting again? So I think it's going to be substantive. I think we can say that, right, Scott? Very substantive. Now, China wants to do something. And look, they have to at this point. You know, essentially, they made $1 trillion a year, and now they have absolutely, you know, no business because of the tariffs. They have no business. And they want to have business, and we want them to have business. We want them to do well. We want them to do very well. So I think it's going to be very substantive.
Because business has slowed down, as you mentioned.
In China.
But we're seeing, as a result, the ports here in the U.S., the traffic has really slowed, and now thousands of dock workers and truck drivers are worried about their jobs.
Yeah, no, that means we lose less money. You know, when I see that, that means we lose less money. Look, China was making over $1 trillion, 1.1 trillion, in my opinion. You know, different numbers from 500 billion to $1 trillion or $1.1 trillion. I think it was 1.1 trillion. And frankly, if we didn't do business, we would have been better off. Okay, you understand that. So when you say it slowed down, that's a good thing, not a bad thing. But we're going to make it so they can, I'd like to say they can do better, actually, in terms of the bottom line. We'd like to see China opened up so we can compete in China and, you know, give people something that they've never had, you know, access to something. That'd be great for the world. It would be great for our businesses. And I think it would be great for friendship. I really expect a lot of people think I'm a militant guy. I'm really not. I think that trade can bring a greater friendship with China, can be something good. But, you know, one of the things that I know Scott's going to be talking about very high on the list is open up and let our businesses go into China, because when you talk about a closed country, that's a really closed country. And I think it would be great if it was opened up. It would give people a lot of choice and would create a lot of jobs, a lot of everything. So I think it would be a great thing for China. And that's going to be one of the things we'll be discussing, like we discussed with UK. Yeah, please.
So what does Britain have to do for you to drop the baseline 10% tariff that you're maintaining?
Well, I think that's set because that has to do with a lot of different things, including past. You know, there are a lot of past things that we talk. This is very inclusive. We included everything, and that's pretty well set. Yeah, please.
Yeah, Mr. President, the 10% baseline tariff remaining in place, is that a template for these future trade deals? You say
No.
you're going to keep it here.
No.
Is it going to stay in every case?
No, that's a low number. They made a good deal. Some will be much higher because they have massive trade surpluses, and in many cases they didn't treat us right. One thing with UK, they had somewhat closed, not like a China as an example, but they always treated us with great respect.
So
They treated us with great respect. The template of 10 is probably the lowest end, and therefore they made that deal. But they we've had just a very special relationship with them. Like, I won't do that deal with cars. I mean, unless somebody shows me that there's another kind of a car that's comparable to a Rolls-Royce, then there aren't too many. This is a good commercial for Rolls-Royce, but they're going to order a lot of cars.
Mr. President, I wonder whether you'd like to buy.
I mean, well, the last time this happened, I ended up.
I would be happy to suggest a discount, obviously a very modest discount. We have to protect our profit margins.
I've had many of them, actually. The last time that happened, I ended up buying a Tesla.
Thank you. Mary Margaret Olahan with Daily Wire. I had a question about the UK deal today. I heard there was talk that part of the agreement would depend on whether the UK would respect free speech and freedom of religion. I know the VP is really interested in that, talked about that earlier this year. Was there any assurances that you guys got on that front?
You want to handle that?
Yeah, that was not part of the conversation. Our conversation was an economic conversation from start to finish, closed by the president yesterday. This was a business deal, open their markets, and also protect their workers, grow our markets, and help our workers.
This was about business religion. Business is sort of a semi-religion, but not nearly as important. I don't want to get myself in there. Go ahead, in the back.
Mr. President, will you be asking China to help you close, the gap between Ukraine and Russia?
I think so, yeah. I think it's a natural thing to ask.
What do you expect?
Sure. I don't know. I think we're making good progress. The fighting is a little bit different than it was. I think if we weren't involved, Russia would be, going at it to maybe get the whole thing. And without our involvement, they'd be able to get it, because we supplied a lot of different things, foolishly. But we've been sort of paid back by doing the rare earth deal that I talked about before. I think that I think that we will be very much involved in trying to get that bloodbath. It's a bloodbath. It's a horrible situation. 5,000. It's really more than that. But it's 5,000 soldiers on average a week, mostly soldiers, are being killed. Young, beautiful people. I mean, they're being killed. I see the satellite pictures coming back, body parts lying all over fields, heads and arms. It's so terrible. I've never seen anything like it, actually. And if we can get that stopped, that will be a great accomplishment. And we're trying very hard. And I think we're close. And Mr. Witkoff is talking constantly back and forth. He's a real professional who's got a great relationship with both countries. And I think we have a good chance. And likewise, we're trying to work on Iran to get that solved without having to get into any bombing, as we say, big bombing. I don't want to do that. I want them to work a deal. I want them to be very successful.
Thank you, Mr. President. Edward Lawrence from Fox Business. On the non-market barriers, how did you get the UK to bend, and what was the 11th hour deal or ask?
Well, I think it was really just a part of the overall. I mean, they have so many things that are so good for them. It's going to be so good for the country. And that was sort of easy. It wasn't, we had non-market, I call it non-market or non-monetary trade barriers. And we have quite a few of them, not nearly as some countries. Some countries have, they have virtually no tariff, but the rest of it is so brutal you can't do business with them in order to get other things. And you might want to speak to that, Mr. Abbas.
Look, the point about the deal is that we will continue reducing tariffs and non-tariff barriers. This is a continuing picture. It's a movie. It's not a still picture here. It's a movie. Yeah. It continues.
It's their stream that's like.
We're both committed to freeing up trade between our countries. We're both committed to freeing up investment between our countries. And the point about this deal is that it provides a very good template and a very good launch pad for what we can continue to do and build on in the future. And that's what we're both determined to do.
You know, many of the, well, we're going to say.
That's between us.
Many of these, we'll keep it confidential. How about just one more little thing, right? Well, it got the deal closed, and it was handled very well from the other side, too. But many of these things that we're talking about, we've been talking about this for 25 years. It's hard to explain when, if you weren't sitting behind this beautiful Resolute desk, you just wouldn't get it. I have been hearing about making a deal with UK for 25 years. And especially around the time of Brexit. They wanted to make a deal, so they came out of Brexit and they make a deal, and how natural. And it just couldn't be done. It couldn't be done. Good people. And this is a bigger deal. This is a much bigger, better, stronger deal for both of us than we ever even contemplated before. It's a big deal.
Virtually everyone said that it would end in failure, it would end in tears, and it's ended in exactly the opposite.
Yeah.
But, Mr. President, can I say that that is due to Secretary Lutnick and Ambassador Greer, who've been absolutely fantastic. But
Right.
yesterday I received a call, a very diplomatic call that just edged things over the line, and that was from your new ambassador in the United Kingdom.
Who is terrific.
Warren Stevens, he's here.
Where is Warren?
Right here.
And
Hello, Warren.
he's flying to London tomorrow night. He's going to be very popular with the British people. He's going to be a very successful ambassador.
And?
Were you disappointed?
And he's got plenty of cash. That guy's plenty of cash.
We need some more big spenders.
Yeah, go ahead.
Are you planning to meet Ursula von der Leyen?
You're going to go ahead fast.
Again, are you planning to meet Ursula von der Leyen, the president, or do you plan to cancel anytime soon?
Oh, she's so fantastic, right? She's so fantastic. I hope we're going to meet. Yeah, the answer is yes. I saw her a few days ago. And I think that we'll definitely meet, yeah. The European Union is a big thing. They want to make a deal very badly. You know, everybody wants to make a deal. Look, everybody wants to make a deal with the United States, and we're doing that, and we're going to make fair deals. I'm just honored that this was the first one. Go ahead, please.
The Federal Reserve Chairman, Mr. President, says that you would have to call him for a meeting. Do you plan to meet with him? And what do you think about?
I'm just like talking to a wall. He should be.
What do you think about not cutting? The Bank of England cut today.
Well, the Bank of England cut, China cut, everybody's cutting but him. It's I don't know. We'll see what happens. It's a shame. I call him Too Late, Too Late Powell. That's his nickname, and it's a shame. It's ridiculous. So meeting, he's always too late. But in this case, it's not going to matter that much because our country is so strong. We're so powerful in terms of economic strength and what we've done. And I'll tell you what, if we didn't have our first term, you wouldn't be. We created things in the first term. We cut more regulations than any president in history. We cut the taxes more than anybody in history. And a very big factor is going to be the tax bill that we have right now, the one big beautiful bill, as we call it, which is all-encompassing, the biggest tax cuts ever in history, bigger than even the first time, and the incentives, even great for the UK, because it'll make us so strong that we're going to be doing more business with you. It's a very important element for taxes, for every aspect, regulation cuts. That bill is, I believe it's the biggest bill of its kind ever in the history of this country. And Speaker Johnson and Leader Thune have done an incredible job. I mean, I'll let you know, we have to get a vote, but we have a lot of support for that bill. And if that happens on top of all of these trade deals that we're doing, this country will hit a point that you better go out and buy stock now. Let me tell you, this country will be like a rocket ship that goes straight up. This is going to be numbers that nobody's ever seen before. That's a very important element of all of this. If we get that, if you don't, and the Democrats are fighting it only because they want to fight. They have Trump derangement syndrome. If it was somebody else, they wouldn't fight. If you had a normal person, if you had some stiff sitting behind you, they'd be fine. But they have Trump derangement syndrome. Senator Schumer's become a Palestinian. He's welcome. I don't know when they're going to give him the ceremony, whatever the ceremony may be. But it's terrible what's happened to the Democrats. So very, very important element of everything, of what we're doing. Unrelated to today, but related in the sense that we'll do, if that passes, we'll do even more business with the UK. We'll have so much. It's the biggest tax cut in history. It's going to make our country zoom. It's going to be incentive, as you know, with the deduction for, basically for work. You work, you build, you plant, etc., your deduction. It's going to be the biggest, it's the biggest bill of its kind ever passed, maybe the biggest bill ever passed. That's why we call it the one big, beautiful bill.
You just announced a new nominee for the U.S. Surgeon General who never finished her residency and is not a practicing physician. So can you explain why you picked her to be America's top doctor?
Because Bobby thought she was fantastic. She's highly, she's a brilliant woman who went through Stanford, and as I understand it, she basically wanted to be an academic as opposed to a surgeon. I think she graduated first in her class at Stanford. And Bobby really thought she was great. I don't know her. I listened to the recommendation of Bobby. I met her yesterday and once before. She's a very outstanding person, a great academic, actually. So I think she'll be great.
Your nominee for U.S. Attorney of D.C., do you have a backup plan if this Senate does
Yeah,
not?
but he's a terrific person, and he wasn't getting the support from people that I thought. You know, he's done a very good job. Crime is down 25% in D.C. During his period of time. I'm very disappointed in that, but I have so many different things that I'm doing now with the trade. You know, I'm one person. I can only make, boom, I can only lift that little phone so many times in a day. But we have somebody else that will be great. I just want to say Ed is unbelievable, and hopefully we can bring him into whether it's DOJ or whatever, in some capacity, because really outstanding. It was, to me, it was disappointing, I'll be honest. I have to be straight. I was disappointed. A lot of people were disappointed. But that's the way it works sometimes, you know. That's the way it works. And he wasn't rejected, but we felt it would be hard. And we have somebody else that we'll be announcing over the next 2 days who's going to be great.
With companies like Ford and Mattel recently saying they're going to raise prices on certain products, how long do you think the American public is going to be patient and wait for you?
Well, I think they're saying that just to try and negotiate deals with me. They're not. Look, tariffs are the most misunderstood thing maybe in any form of business, anywhere in business. Oftentimes the country picks them up. Oftentimes the company picks it up. The people don't pick it up. Okay, the people don't pick it up. And if Ford did that, they wouldn't sell any cars. And if Mattel, I don't know, I'm not so sure. They also said they're the only country I've heard. They said, well, we're going to go counter. We're going to try going someplace else. That's okay. Let him go, and we'll put 100% tariff on his toys, and he won't sell one toy in the United States, and that's their biggest market. I heard that. I mean, I watched this guy talking about how I'm going to go counter. I said, well, I wouldn't want to have him as an executive too long. The Ford people I know very well. What they're doing is negotiating with us by saying that. But we don't think that's going to happen. Look, I put out a truth today, and it said that gas is down, gasoline is down, energy is down, groceries are down, eggs are down. I mean, eggs, thank you very much, but eggs are down. When I came in the first week, you guys hit me with eggs. I said, what the hell happened with eggs? Eggs were up like 170% and going up, and they said don't order any for Easter. And we were thinking about ordering plastic eggs like everybody was doing. And Brooke did a fantastic job, agriculture. Brooke did a fantastic job, and we had hundreds of thousands of eggs out here on the lawn just 2 weeks ago at Easter. But you take a look at the cost. Energy's down. Even interest rates are down. Now, if the chairman of the Fed, Jerome, if he would lower interest rates like China did, like I think UK did, but like numerous other countries have done, it's like jet fuel. It would be great. But he doesn't want to do it. I think he doesn't want to do it. Probably he's not in love with me. I think that's right. It's sort of a crazy reason, but that's the way life is. Anybody in his position would be like, it would be like jet fuel. But even without that, we're doing well. But remember this, you know, I've watched you people reporting over the last few months that if we do this, you know, prices are going to go through. Well, Groceries are down. All of this stuff is down. Lumber is down. Oil is gone to, I mean, we have that thing broke 60, right? $60 a barrel. And $1.98, $1.99 in some cases. And heading in that direction. No, I think it's been amazing, actually. You know, and what that's good for, it gives the consumer more money, and it gives them a better life. Because we just came out of the worst inflation, in my opinion, in the history of our country. They say 48 years. But Biden really screwed it up. He screwed up energy. And he also he spent too much money. He was spending it on, you know, a green new scam. And that's like throwing the money. See that beautiful window behind? Take money, throw it right out that window. Because it's the same thing. He spent $10 trillion. He wasted it. Not only was it bad, it was a negative. It wasn't even like it helped a little bit. It was a real negative. And then on top of it, they let 21 million people into our country without any identification, anything. Just let them in. It's very, very sad. Well, we'll do one or two more. Yeah, please. Go ahead. Who are you with?
I'm with the Daily Telegraph. Now, you know me from another
I do.
How concerned are you about the UK's reliance on China? Chinese money in the money market, Chinese exports.
We're not concerned.
Is that something?
Honestly, I'm not concerned about anything. If I was, I wouldn't even be here right now. If I was concerned about anything, and it wouldn't be that, but I wouldn't be here right now. No, we're not concerned. We're going to have, I believe, a very good relationship with China, and a fair relationship, and it'll get bigger and it'll grow. It'll grow. As an example, if they open up the country, that'll be the best thing China ever did for itself. They don't know that yet because, you know, it's been a different system. But that'll be the greatest thing that ever happened to China. The people will be happier. They'll buy for less. They'll see things that they never saw before, and they'll be buying them. And it'll really create great long-term peace.
And if I could ask one of the Agriculture Secretary, actually, there's a lot of concern about chlorinated chicken, the import of hormone-treated beef. Has that question been addressed, resolved in these talks, or is that something for the continuing negotiations?
Well,
James.
I would just say that it's very clear, and we have in the heads of terms that we are going to discuss all of these types of issues, and obviously the importing country, whether it's us or them, you got to follow the rules on those types of things. But our point is the rules need to make sure that they are based on science, and that's our expectation. We know the UK believes that too, so we want to come to an accommodation. We want the consumers in each country to be able to choose what they want and give them the information that they want.
We have an incredible EPA led by Administrator Zeldin that is on this. So the talks continue, but we are very, very confident in our products, and what the president has done to open up the markets is unprecedented for these farmers here in America. Thank you.
Message from Wall Street as they watched this. You saw the stock market decline sharply after Liberation Day, and it's rallied back since then.
Well, now it's going to really rally because, you know, don't forget they said this is all a pipe dream. And this is a tough one. This is, somebody would say, well, this is easy. This is much tougher, I think, than any other deal because they've been at it for so many years, decades, trying to make this deal. And it's very conclusive, and it's a great deal, and it's a very big deal, actually. No, this is just the beginning. We're going to be having conferences, or at some point we won't have, we'll just put out a statement that we just signed this country, that country. And after a number of these are done, nobody has enough people to do it. We're just going to put out X country is going to pay this, and if they open up, they're going to do this and that, and they're going to be open up. Everybody wants to be here. You know, I say this is where they want to be shopping. They want to shop in this country because we have the consumer, and we have the consumer like nobody else. And you know, if this country went bad, the whole world would go bad. But we really saved it from going bad. Yeah, please.
So can I ask you about the air traffic control issue? Are you looking at getting new software?
I'm glad you asked me about it because I'm just going to be talking to now with the heads of the airlines and everything else. So I was all set before we had the rigged election to give out a brand new gorgeous system to one company that was going to do the whole thing, one of the best companies in the world that you know very well. You know, there are 3 or 4 of them that do it. And when they took over, Buttigieg, who has no clue, you know, he drives to work on his bicycle with his, in all fairness, with his husband on the back, which is a nice, loving relationship. But he didn't have a clue. This guy didn't have a clue. And he's actually a contender for president. Between him and Crockett, you can have that party. but he didn't know what he was doing, and he took what they call dry systems where you have wires in the earth, buried in the earth or whatever, and then you have the open air systems where you have satellites, and you can't mesh them. Anybody would know that if you went through about 2 months of study in school, if you studied that kind of thing, and he did. They spent tens of billions of dollars trying to take old, broken equipment and merging it into existing new equipment with brand new equipment. It's one of the greatest. They spent like $40 billion. And what they did is they made it worse because it doesn't work together. You can't make it work together. If you have a satellite system, you need satellite. If you don't, they had all these different technologies, some of them 50 years old, and they're trying to mesh them in. And they end up spending twice the money they should have. You could have bought a whole new system. So we have a very good guy who you all know, Sean Duffy, is head of transportation. And I've given him a 10-minute lesson in buying, and he's become really good. And we are now in the market to buy a gorgeous, brand new system. The helicopter that crashed into the plane at 400 feet, it shouldn't have been. What would have happened is all sorts of bells and sirens would have been going off 3 minutes before that accident happened, if you had the right equipment, but they didn't. And the new equipment is unbelievable what it does. You can have, you don't even, well, I was going to say something, but you always, in my opinion, you always need pilots. I want pilots. But you wouldn't even have to have pilots. This system is so incredible what they can do. But we have a system that's obsolete. And what they did is the worst. They tried to combine the really old, broken stuff with the new stuff, and you can't combine it, and anybody should have known. So Biden, do you think Biden figured this out? I don't think so, fellas. Do you think he has any clue? He doesn't know what the hell's happening. So here's the story. We're going to be buying a brand new, it's going out to bid very soon, brand new state-of-the-art system that will cover the entire world. I'll give you an example. When my pilot, now I have military pilots, but prior to that I have very good pilots, great pilots. They would land, and I won't tell you which country, but they would use the system of another country. They wouldn't even use the system of the United States. So if I'm landing in New York or Florida or Tennessee, they're using a system from another country. I said, why is that? And they were, you know, they're not into business, but they're just saying, our system doesn't work, sir. And I said, boy, that's pretty sad. But we were all set to give it out to, you know, look, you have a Raytheon and you have different companies like that, numerous companies. And you have companies that would do it, like an IBM, as an example. And you give out one deal, one contract. They gave out hundreds of contractors. They had diggers. They had non-diggers. They had people that focused on satellites. They had hundreds of different contracts. One contract where one guy is controlling everything. If you need a trench, then they dig a trench. But if you don't dig the trench, they don't blame you. What happens is you don't dig it, then they say, we want a cost overrun. Now, we have it all set, and we're going to be doing it. We would have done it, except that the election took a little strange turn. But the second one didn't. That was too big to rig. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. I have a lot to say. I think I have a lot to say here. Oh, don't copyright me, please. All right, there we go. Shit, I feel like I haven't talked in a while. My bad. What's up, everybody? It's obviously been a minute. A lot of stuff there. Crypto gains feel good, don't they? I closed a shit ton of positions just now, by the way. Clear your throat, please. Code Magic, why don't you stop listening to the inside of my mouth so closely? Yeah, man, what a conference. Okay, so let me kind of break down my thoughts here. Okay, so UK deal, US UK deal looks pretty good. I saw a lot of criticism about it in the chat, and I'm just gonna kind of give my opinion. And before I give my opinion, let me give my thoughts on something real quick. Listen, I'm not a political guy. I have very little education from a political perspective, but I'm someone who doesn't really care, right? I don't care about Democrat. I don't care about Republican. Don't care about red. Don't care about blue. What I care about is making money. That's really all I care about, quite frankly. I don't really give a shit who's in the office. Whoever makes me the most money is who has my vote. Generally. Some things else considered. But one thing that I have noticed is that when Trump does anything bad, right? When Trump does anything bad, everyone has something to say. Like, oh, look, he did some stupid shit. Anytime anything remotely decent happens, it's always, who cares? No one cares. Not good. This is small, irrelevant. And I think it's a bit of a weird thing. Let me give you an example. If Trump would have come out and he would have just shit on, give me a small country, like actually small in terms of size. What's a random? El Salvador. Not El Salvador. Let's go to a different one. I don't fucking know. Papua New Guinea. Just a small country, right? A small country, right? Everyone would say, oh, Trump, the big bad guy, he just killed our relationship with Papua New Guinea. This has been the greatest country. They've been a good friend of ours. They've supported us for so long, yada, yada. They'd have made a big deal. Trump works out a deal with the UK, who is one of our oldest allies, who does make up a decent percentage of our exports and imports, right? He makes a decent deal with them, which is going to be used as leverage for future deals. Duh. Makes a deal with them and everyone's like, oh, they only make up a small percentage of our trade. Who cares? No one cares. Not China. It doesn't matter. And I just feel like that criticism's weird, to be honest. Like, again, I don't give a shit who you support. Like, I don't care if it's Trump. I don't care if it's whoever it may be. It makes no difference to me. I'm here to make money. But I do think that that criticism is weird. That's my thoughts on that. I feel like I just had to let that out because it's annoying. In terms of the deal itself, obviously they were going to gas it up and make it seem like a big thing. But what were they supposed to do? Were they supposed to say, hey, I have a meeting tomorrow, made a deal, not important? It's not a big deal. It's unimportant. How would that have made the UK feel? How would that make other future countries feel whenever we try to make a deal with them if they think that we don't value it? The smart play here is if you want to make allies, is you want to make them feel important, right? So if you make a deal with someone, you gas it up. You say, look, we made this huge deal. This is super big. They're our ally, 80 years, yada, yada, this, that, whatever. Who cares? But that's how you build up a conglomerate, right? Like that's how you get to a point where you have people who support you. You have countries who support you that do good deals with you. Anytime Trump burned a bridge with anyone, everyone screamed. The second that he does anything positive with a country, everyone says that it's unimportant. I just think it's weird. And so the way that I see it is that, is this the biggest deal in the world? No, obviously not. But is it a good deal? Of course it's a good deal from what I can see, from what I heard. Not an economist, but it seems pretty decent to me. And I do believe that it is going to be leverage going forward. Listen, although the UK may be small, it is a big name, obviously. It's one of the oldest countries, right? And what I expect is that this deal is going to be used as leverage for future deals. Like, look what the UK was okay with doing. You want something worse than that? No. Like, if they were okay with it, why wouldn't you be okay with it? It's a leverage thing. And obviously there are benefits, tens of thousands of jobs, etc. But there are benefits to it, okay? There are benefits to it. And I think that's pretty clear. This is a positive thing. A lot of bridges have been burnt. A lot of bad shit has been done. A lot of scary things have been said. This is a step in the right direction. It's the step in the direction that we've all been hoping that would be taken. And so looking at it and saying, oh, this is all horseshit. Doesn't matter. Who cares? You might not care, but my bags care. I think your guys' bags care. And so I'm happy with it. I'm happy with it overall. And I would actually say this is one of the first times that there was something built up to be a good thing that actually turned out to be a good thing. Because listen, I will be realistic in the sense that there have been many times where there was supposed to be this thing, a crypto summit, right? All these things that were supposed to be big, supposed to be exciting, supposed to be good, that turned out to be nothing burgers, that led the market just to absolute death, right? That has been a consistent and frequent thing. This has actually been good news. And I do think that it is the case. And I'm not just saying that. The market seems to agree. Let me pull up our charts here. The market seems to agree. Because not only is crypto pumping, everything's pumping. VOO is up 1.32% on the day. Smashing it. Bitcoin, over $100,000. ETH at $200,000. The DXY dropping. Or finding support, I'm at. USDT dominance, nuking. What does this mean? It means people are dumping their stable coin into the market right now. They're dumping their stable coin and they're buying assets. People are leaving the sidelines. They're gaining in confidence. All of these things are good things. I actually think this is a good piece of news. And I think this is going to possibly set some momentum for future movements here. Now, obviously, I have to give my devil's advocate side. Okay, I have to give my devil's advocate side. This is starting to get a little bit risky, I think, right? What we can see here is that Bitcoin is now broken to the top side of an ascending channel. Very unusual. This is an extremely unusual thing to happen. It doesn't happen very often. This is less than 15% chance of happening in general. Now, after a fake out, it goes up to about 20%, 20, 30, 25%. But this is an unusual thing to happen, and it's very hard to maintain. These sorts of moves are very difficult to hold. And I'm not saying it can't. I'm just saying it's going to be very hard to do so. And so right now, if you're just aping in, opening up huge 100x, 50x, 75x leverage long trades, you're taking a gigantic gamble here. And if I was to open up a leverage trade right now, what I would do is set my stop loss below that previous support right around $99,000, probably $98,800. So that if we do turn this into a fake out, which is a super high possibility, this bad boy pulling back a little bit, now we're in a spot to where, of course, you can close that bad boy with that stop loss and you're not going to get caught up here. I'm not longing. I'm not opening up long trades or any of that nature. Matter of fact, I actually just did the biggest take profit that I've done in a long time. The last time I took profit of the same amount was when Bitcoin was at $106,000, and I just did it here. Now, why, you may ask? Well, it's because it hit my large take profit zone, okay? Do you guys remember we laid out the 3-step breakout strategy? And I told you all that 3 major things need to happen. We need to break out and backtest. We need to see the higher highs. And as we pursue the higher highs, I'm going to continue to take profits. Well, that's what we did. I told you all that a point in which I think where we're starting to get really overextended is $101,000. I laid this out for you all like 2 or 3 weeks ago, guys. Maybe about 3 weeks ago. And I told you all that there's a chance Bitcoin tries a run for 101K. And if that time does come, I am going to do a large take profit on my entire portfolio. Not because I don't think it can continue upwards, but more that I am very happy with those gains. We did a ton of buying down here, taking those profits, and that would be the beginning of what I thought could be the big zone, like the zone to be taking profits in. And so that's what we did. And so what did I do? I went ahead and I announced to the school about 10 minutes ago that I have officially triggered a 6.65% closing of my entire crypto portfolio, following right after a 0.35%, totaling a 7% close of my entire crypto portfolio, all completely 100% in profits. And if I pull up our buy-sell bubble sheet, you can see here, the red bubbles are my sells, the green bubbles are my buys, and you can see here a massive sell just went in right here. Now, if Bitcoin does decide to pull back, sure, I will re-enter, but I'm not banking on it. I don't know if it's going to. Bitcoin might just keep rallying to 120K. Guys, if they come out next week and say that in Switzerland they came up with a huge agreement with China, Bitcoin literally might just run straight to its Fibonacci extensions. And what that would mean is Bitcoin could run straight to, 109K, 121K, 138K. Like, all those things are possible. It gets past this golden zone, it could just send to one of these higher levels. But guess what? I'm just going to keep taking profits off the table. Because do I think Bitcoin's going to $200,000 anytime soon? No. Probably not, right? And the higher that we go here, the more likely it becomes that Bitcoin pulls back and cools down. So I'm just going to continue to take profits. We are in the second half of the macro move. We're in the second half of the macro trade. The first half was doing all these purchases, all these buys on these lower levels, buying here, buying here, buying here, buying here, buying here. And now we finally get to reap the benefits of that. We get to reap what we sowed. And what we sowed was buying when everyone else was scared, when everyone else was saying the bull market was over. And I was sat here saying, it's not over, I don't think. I've not seen any confirmations that it's over yet. And when we're buying when everyone else is scared, now we get to reap the rewards. Now we get to reap the benefits. Now we get to take profits. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. And so right now I'm in take profit land. I'm in sell land. I'm not in put 100x leverage trades out there. I'm not in the buy as much as I can land right now. That's what this was for. And that's what we were doing. And I want to just say congrats to you, because I know a lot of you, for the first time this last 3 months, for the first time, got it right. For the first time. I've done this YouTube thing for years now. And so often I see my community. I'm sitting here saying, listen, guys, I'm dollar cost averaging and I'm buying right now. And I'm not telling them to follow me. I'm just saying, hey, put it in mind. Maybe it's now a good time to start looking at DCAing, right? And a lot of people just cannot buy during the dip. They just won't do it. right? Your emotions are too strong. You just can't do it. And I've seen so many of you in the community and in the school who've been buying during this dip, and now you're taking profits right now when some other people are jumping in saying, oh, should I buy? What should I buy, right? You did it. And I want to just congratulate you. And if you're one of the people who finally played it, played the game as it should be played, I want you to let me know in the chat. Just let us know. Maybe say I did. Put in the chat I did. Let us know if you bought that dip and now you're in a spot to where you can be taking profits right now. Let us know. Now, I did see a message. I did see a message from one of you. One of you just said, I don't know where it was, but someone just told me, they said, Tyler, you're selling too early. No, I'm not. Let me explain. So those of you who think that I'm quote unquote selling too early, let me ask you something. Did I sell too early right here? Now, your first answer to that question may be, well, of course you did. Of course you did, because it kept going higher. Okay, if Bitcoin would have kept running to right here before pulling back, would you have said that I took profits too early right here? You would say, yeah, of course you did. No, I can't time the top and I can't time the bottom. I had absolutely no idea if Bitcoin was going to keep running right here or not. I didn't think it was going to, but I truly had no idea. So what did I do? I just started taking profits. You cannot time the market no matter who you are, period. You can't time the tops, you can't time the bottoms. And the only way to overcome the inability to time the market is to gradually enter and exit in preparation to average your way in and average your way out. Because the reality here is, guys, so those of you might have said, Tyler, you bought too early. You bought too early right here. Tyler, you bought too early right here. You bought too early. You bought too early. You bought too early. Did I? When Bitcoin's back up here, was this purchase actually too early or was it early preparation? That's the question, right? So no, I didn't buy too early. I didn't sell too early. Me taking profits right now isn't me selling too early, because you don't know if Bitcoin's just going to do this, because it might. Who knows? It might not. If it does, I took profits at a great time. If it continues higher, guess what? I have dozens of percentages of my portfolio still open. I have over 70% of my total portfolio still open right now. And so what does that mean? It means that we're in a spot to where if it continues higher, we're capable of locking in more and more and more and more. That's how you play this game. You don't play this game by trying to freaking time this thing. You don't play this game by saying, I'm going to sell Bitcoin when Bitcoin goes to 112K. It might not get there. We are in the golden zone right now. Right now. You know what that means? Bitcoin has a higher likelihood of being rejected and pushed back down right now than it has for the last 4 months. Will it? I don't know. But you need to be prepared for it. That's how you play this game. That's how you play this game. Trust me. I've been doing this for 7 years now. When I try to time the market, I lose. When I average in and average out, I almost always end up in profit at some point. Because crypto is an expanding asset class that has a tendency to go upwards no matter what happens over a long enough time horizon. So as long as you're buying lows and selling highs, you're going to be fine. That's how you play this game, baby. I'm fucking hyped. This is amazing. Days like today feel great. Days like today feel great. My average cost for Bitcoin is about $36,000, which puts it right around here. Right here. Because it raised a little bit. My average cost for Bitcoin is right around here. And being able to lock profits on a portfolio, I mean, it just feels good. You know, we're back up over 200, 300%. It feels real nice. So who's taking profits? Let me know. Let me know in the chat. If you're taking profits, let me know. Say, I am. Let me know. Say, I am. If you're buying crypto right now, say, I'm buying. I'm just very curious. I'm very curious to see what you guys are doing. Another thing that I did do is I did do a pretty large sell on SWI. I sold a little bit of SWI. It was roughly, let's see, 6% of my entire SWI position. I took some profits on that bad boy too as well. My average cost for SWI is obviously a good bit lower than we're at right now. So capable of obviously getting that in. We were doing some buyings on SWI around that 50% threshold or lower. So locking in some solid gainers here on SWI as well. And listen, guys, just to chill real quick while you guys are in the chat, because I'm curious to see what you're doing. I do, of course, post everything that I'm buying, everything I'm selling, every single move. Listen, matter of fact, every single one of these buy and sells was logged here. So if you want to see exactly when I'm buying, exactly when I'm selling, if you want live streams, workshops, classes, weekly courses, weekly lessons, if you want to see what I'm doing, Connor Kinney's doing, other coaches, other creators, this is the best community to be in right now in the world of crypto. And that is not subjective, that is objective. I genuinely believe that. I mean, look at this. Just today, look at the gains. These are within minutes of each other. 300%, 100%, 700%, 100%, 40%. I mean, absolutely firing on all cylinders, locking in gigantic gains. And if you want access to this, the link is in the description down below to the Crypto Strategy School, where we have one very simple goal. Our goal is to take crypto investors like yourselves, and we give you the tools that you need to create strategies, because the strategy is what creates a winning investor. It's not the other way around. So the link's in the description below if you want to go check out the community. And don't forget, if you are trading a little bit of crypto yourself, you can get that 10% bonus on all first-time deposits between $500 and $100,000 over on BTCC. It's one of the best trading platforms out there. It's been around for over 13 years. Okay, and not many can say that. So feel free to go check it out. Looking at the market in general, though, we are seeing some stuff absolutely smashing it. I mean, Brett, Virtual, Sui, Pingu, LDO, Pepe. I mean, absolutely fantastic stuff here. It does make me a little bit nervous that we are seeing the biggest gains coming from meme coins, right? Seeing Brett leading this charge here, seeing Trump leading this charge, seeing Fartcoin. Generally speaking, when we are getting to the end of a short-term pump, you're going to see your memes absolutely flying. And seeing something like Pepe and Brett up 20 to 40% in one day, it definitely feels to me like we could be getting towards the end of this little move. But listen, you can, what's that corny ass phrase everyone says? The market can remain irrational longer than you can stay solvent, or something like that. I definitely think, the market could just continue higher, but I do believe it's getting increasingly more and more risky the higher that we go, right? You look at your hourly RSI, for example, we are starting to see this thing kind of flatten out a little bit. We did cancel that bearish divergence, which is a good thing, but in general, we are seeing the RSI flatten out at the top. And that just means it's getting harder and harder to climb upwards, which is what you would expect, right? And so right now, I definitely think that the market is in a bit of a risky spot if you are going to be doing some buying. But if you're taking profits, or if you're generally just holding, it's not a risky spot at all. I mean, this is absolutely fantastic. The next big thing that needs to happen here in the crypto market is Bitcoin needs to break the golden zone. Remember, Bitcoin being able to officially clear the golden zone opens the door for it to be able to push $138,000. Now, I know that sounds like a pipe dream, and I know you don't think that can happen, but remember what everyone said. Remember what everyone said when Bitcoin broke this level right here back in the last week of April. And I said that I think Bitcoin can push back up to $101,000 to retest the top side of the golden zone. And everybody was saying Bitcoin's not going to clear 100K, not going to happen, can't happen, when I laid out these levels. It can do it. It can do it. And I think it very well might do it. If Bitcoin breaks this golden zone, the door to $138,000 will open. The question is whether or not we push up to that thing. That's what I don't know. Who knows? I did see a super chat earlier. Just wanted to give a big shout out to Sandon, who says, any thoughts on asset entities? I don't know much about asset entities. I did see somebody, one of the close guys in my group said something about it not too long ago. But if you want to, Sandon, leave a message in the comments and I will respond to it. If you want to give me a little extra context. But of course, as per usual, I appreciate the super chat, my friend. Much appreciated. Alrighty. Just started. As Tyler talked about taking profits 12 times yet, I'm at least at 20 times by now, at bare minimum. So yeah, that's where we are. Things are looking good, guys. Things are looking good. I mean, I'm pretty pumped about this. Yeah, looking pretty good. What are we doing? What are we seeing here? Let's see. What are the whales doing? Seeing a heavy shift in the long positions as well. Long margins still up there a ton. Interesting to see that long funding fees are still so heavily weighted. I feel like that's not updating. What's this do? Oh, that's interesting. Let's go actually look at liquidation map. I'm going to answer your questions in a minute here. I saw Jason. What up, Jason? Yeah, I mean, we've pretty much wiped the majority of those liquidations to the upside. And this is absolute wipeage. Hyperliquid map here. Bitcoin exchange liquidation map. What are we at here on the 30-day? We got to be at like 21 billion by now. 22. Oh my gosh, dude. Over $2 billion worth of leverage entered the market within the last hour. That's spooky, guys. I'm not going to lie. That is a little bit spooky. Like the sheer amount of liquidations, how off this is in terms of weighting, it is a little bit spooky. It makes me feel like we need to be a little careful here for sure. Need to be a little bit careful here for sure, especially with Bitcoin running into that golden zone. I mean, it's kissing the top of the golden zone right now. That is the strongest level of resistance that exists. So need to be a little bit spooky. I need to be a little bit careful here because it does look to me as if Bitcoin is kind of slowing down at that level. Not to say it can't break it, but it definitely is struggling, to say the least. So definitely glad that I took a little bit of profits off the table here because this is spooky shit. I ain't gonna lie. Liquidation model 2. I'm not worried about those down there. A lot of liquidations down to 73, but still some bright lights. Definitely still some bright lights above us, which is obviously what you want to see, right? Those bright lights are what got us here. Not seeing a huge influx of those liquidations from more of a macro perspective for just Binance specifically, but again, that's just Binance specifically, so it's worth noting. And I would assume Model 1 looks similar. Yeah, decently similar as well. So, yeah, interesting spot. Okay, let's shift gears a little bit. I've been on stream for about 2 hours, and I want to kind of jump into the chat, answer some questions from you all. Leave your questions down below. And yeah, that's what we'll do. Oh, man. So again, do it one more time. If you bought that dip for the last couple months and you're taking profits right now, put I am in the chat right now. Put I am right now. What if my average buy is still 10% above today's price on alt? Should I sell some percent? No, don't sell it at a loss. I mean, I wouldn't. Stein R, look at this, look at this, look at this. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Congratulations, everyone. Nah, Jason, no more sell, champ. We're at $5 a month for like 4 months. Oh my goodness, look at this. Shout out Denise. What if we pump harder, Jonathan? We take more. Sell more. The happier it goes, the more you sell. Duh. Let's go. Lock in. Craig, let's go. In and out. Easy. Look at this. Smashed. You guys are amazing. We love to see it. Congratulations. Round of applause. Days like today. You remember the streams we used to have when it's like, oh, we'd be so hyped about the pump and stuff like that. I feel like the difference here is now we're like, oh, we get to lock in now, right? Like everybody's like, I'm never selling. I'm like, okay, well, I guess, if you want to live your life completely in Web3, that's fine. But if you have a life outside of Web3 and you never sell, it means you'll never actually realize anything, right? Like, when you can see that stablecoin balance go up instead of down, because you can take those profits, right? You got 5K in stables, 20K in stables, whatever. Now you got 25K or 30. It feels so good. Feels so good. And then you're like, who gives a shit, right? Like, that's kind of where I am right now, because it's like, say, for example, Bitcoin does crash. Like, say, for example, Bitcoin pulls back to try to come for these liquidations. We got cash now. Like, we've taken so much profits here, guys, that if Bitcoin decides it wants to pull back, I'm like, who cares? Let it. Like, if it's gonna do it, do it. I mean, whatever. We can open up those stop loss leverage long trades. We can DCA in if we want to. I mean, we got room to work with. We got more dry powder. It feels so good, dude. It's a win-win. It's literally a win-win. It either keeps going up and we just keep taking more and more profits and just smash the gainers, or it comes back down and we just re-enter, try to catch that low, try to re-ride. Or obviously open up some sort of, little micro swings or whatever. We have a couple options there. But that's what we want. We want options. Feels so good, dude. Hell of a day. No, so I'm saying closing down, say, my Bitcoin, trading my Bitcoin for USDC, for example, seeing my USDC balance going up. Look at all the paper hands selling and saying, I am. I love people who have NFTs as their profile pictures, who don't make gains in crypto ever, who criticize people for making gains. The only people who will call you a paper hands is someone who's late. Simple. It's either someone who's late or someone who's greedy. And I don't care about the opinion of someone who's late or someone who's greedy. Simple as, right? Because if you're greedy, we both buy at $10, right? It runs up to $15 and I sell. And you're like, oh, you got paper hands. No, dude, you wanted it to go higher so that you could sell on me. That's what you wanted. You can be greedy all you want. Have fun. I don't know. The best investors in the world took profits. That's objectively true. That is objectively true. But shout out to you, of course. I'm up over 50K total out the exchange. So you took profits and then called other people paper hands. You can't make this shit up, guys. You can't make this shit up. Sleepy, you need a nap, bro. The IAMs like myself are selling a small portion of our bags. 100%. Let me ask you something, Sleepy. You've been selling. You sold crypto 7 years ago before Bitcoin even crossed 50K. You had paper hands back then. Why would you sell so early, bro? Why would you have paper hands? That's lettuce. Why would you do that? That's so dumb. You hear how stupid that sounds? Come on, bro. Take a nap, bro. Sorry. I'm just having a good day today, so I like to make fun of you guys. Sorry, I'm back. I took all my profits. Let a tiny bit in to stop me from FOMOing. Charlotte. Do you even use Cold Wallet, Tyler? Yeah, I do, and that gets a little inconvenient. But I have a team who helps me when I'm on stream and I need to make moves, and they're fast with making moves and stuff. I initially bought too high. I'm forced to continue to hold. It happens. It is what it is, Dylan. There's nothing wrong with that. Buying in, say if you bought when Bitcoin was 103K and you're still not at break even, that's fine. You probably should have been DCAing a little bit more over the last few months, but it's a lesson learned. If you're new to the space and you're just getting in because you bought whenever everything was all FOMO and then you regretted it, there ain't nothing wrong with it. If you're not someone who's in a spot to be able to take profits right now, you're like, no one's making fun of you. You know, I just make fun of people like Sleepy. No one's making fun of you. What you need to do to correct those things are the next time we get a dip, it's going to happen one day, dollar cost average better. Be willing to reinvest, be willing to buy if you're capable when the prices go down. Go against your emotions. Because going with your emotions is what caused you to buy a little bit too high last time, right? You got that. You're good. Shout out you, Dylan. Shorting now is not a crazy bad idea, but I'm not going to do it because I don't like trading against the market like that. Exactly. Happens to all of us. Yeah, Jasmine's a bit of a rough one. The guy that always promotes FarmSend. What is FarmSend? Tyler, I bought AVEX at 50 euros, but my median price is 26 because I DCA a lot. Very nice. Good. There you go. Hedge short against Bitcoin. I don't think it's a terrible idea. Again, I just don't like trading against the trend. And we are quite clearly in an uptrend. Do you think alt season is getting closer? I think alt season is a myth in the sense that it's going to happen the exact same way that it happened before. But in general, a bullish period for altcoins, 100%. I was like Da Vinci and begging those around me to buy ETH at $20 and taught them that, hey, there you go. Y'all aren't ever worried you won't be able to buy back in time Bitcoin at some point? Not really. I mean, I don't know if you're talking to me or not, but I have a huge bag of it still. In terms of percentages, I'm not talking about dollar amount. I'm talking about percentage. Like I still have like 60-70% of my bag open. So if it just keeps going up, I'll just keep making profits. Have you thanked your market maker lately? Sleepy is not right. He's simply not right. Telling someone that takes profits they're doing something wrong is objectively wrong. Simple. What would you consider the best time frame for day trading? It super depends on your strategy. Like there are different ways to day trade. I personally really like 30-minute swings. But there's so many options. I bought some coins high, I won't lie, but thank God I studied the coins market, saw your videos, and dropped down the median price of my coins. I'm in profit already. Holding DCA and fear a lot. It's simple as that. If you buy too high, just buy when it goes down. It's super simple. Because, right, at its core, if you said I bought too high, it means the price is now below what you bought it at. So why are you not lowering that average cost? Now, if you don't have the dry cash, like if you don't have the cash or the dry powder available, I get it. But if you have the ability to, you should be, in my opinion. Profits are profits. Selling in a loss is bad. In a profit, no matter where, is good. A trader does this. An investor will not sell on one pump. Simple as. I mean, I definitely agree and disagree. I think saying that an investor won't sell on one pump, it depends on what you mean. Like, if you mean they won't sell their entire bag in one pump, I do generally agree. But a long-term investor like myself is fully capable of taking gradual and incremental profits as we go into, say, one pump, like I've been doing recently. I wouldn't particularly consider myself a trader per se. I would consider myself more of just an enhanced investor, I guess, like an investor with a couple extra steps. They spitting to your face sell. Okay, I don't know what you mean. Just sell 25%, look for another chance, and get into it. Exactly, you get it. People who aren't taking profits are making a mistake. Maybe they're not, right? Like, maybe they're not. Maybe Bitcoin does run to 120,000, but I hope they can time that top. Like, I hope you can time it, because if you can't, you're going to be pissed, you know? Yeah, exactly. Right. Honest opinions on ICP, it's just not giving me the moves I want it to give me, really. It's not very exciting. Do you sell all your crypto portfolio at the end of the cycle? I don't sell all of my crypto ever. I'll sell a lot. Like, if Bitcoin's at 150K, just know I've probably closed like 90% of my position, or 80% or 70%, like a gigantic. I've taken profit and closed probably by now about 25% of my entire Bitcoin bag, all completely in profit. Same with the rest of my portfolio. Like, almost everything, for example, like my average cost on Solana is $30. My average cost on SWI is like, we're probably about 100% gain right now. My average cost on XRP is 50 cents. My average cost on ETH is $985 roughly. So, like, all these things I'm closing, I'm taking real profits in. And whenever we get that, that cyclical moment in which we do see the prices start to pull back, then I'll re-enter. But I never fully exit. I can't. Like, there won't be a day where I'm fully out of crypto, I don't think. I just can't see that happening. Bitcoin will probably reach a 1 mil at one point in time, but if you trade, dude, I'd say 5 to 10% is a great profit. Yeah, it might hit 1 million. But the reality is that if I'm exiting on highs and re-entering on lows, I'm probably going to have more Bitcoin by then than I would if I didn't do this. Can't tell if we pumped. What do you mean? Yeah. There's nothing wrong with people playing long-term on their crypto. I completely agree. Like, if you're someone who just wants to buy and hold and never sell, I don't see any problem with that at all. I think it's a great way to go about it. It's very stress-free. But if you're one of those people who then tell someone that takes profits they're doing something stupid, you're an idiot. Objectively, I'm sorry. I know that's a bit of a harsh thing to say. You're an idiot. XRP is definitely still behind. I think XRP is surely behind a good bit just because it gained so much growth before, right? Like, it's up hundreds of percentages, and the higher it goes, the harder it'll be to pump, the harder it'll be to move. And unless it starts to give people those big gains, they're not going to FOMO back in, and people are looking for new opportunities. They think kind of the well is run dry for XRP, which is why its price isn't absolutely sitting. It's just going to kind of go back to neutrality for a while, I think. You don't think the short-term capital gains you have to pay on those sales negates the profit versus long-term capital gains? Of course they can, right? There definitely can be, and that is something that you do need to consider. But oftentimes the profits that I'm taking right now are profits from purchases I did years ago. So I am in long-term capital gains territory at this point. A lot of the profits that I'm taking doesn't have to particularly be ascribed to those purchases that I did a couple weeks ago, right? And so that's the way that I play it. Like, the Bitcoin that I'm generally selling is the Bitcoin that I bought at $30,000. So I don't typically do that or have to deal with that, which is a nice little way around it. But also you can kind of like harvest those losses if, and you're in those moments. And there are ways that you can deal with it. But in general, of course, like, if you're going to be taking a 20-30% hit, you have to be able to play it well. But oftentimes the gains that I'm able to get far exceed the actual capital gains that I'd have to pay in terms of taxes. I'm closing small percentages from spot and closing around 80% of low leverage position. Great play. Good job. Where do you think Bitcoin dominance is headed? Cycle top in? I don't know. Maybe. I think the biggest thing to watch for Bitcoin dominance right now is very clearly the bottom side of this wedge. If it loses the bottom side of this channel, I think Bitcoin dominance could fall back towards 61% or maybe even lower. But I do think it'll come back towards that level. I think 61% is a reasonable assumption, and that would be a huge move for alts. Am I supposed to take profits? I have a buy-in on SWI at $1.68. I'm up a lot, but I want more coins, not less. But shouldn't I take profit and buy on the pullback? I can't tell you what to do, but I'm telling you I'm taking profit. Not all of it. I'm not closing all of it, but I am selling some, yeah. Cycling into XRP wouldn't be a terrible idea, but do remember, oftentimes cryptos that pump take a while to pump again. You know, they don't usually just run and run and run and run. There are going to be probably other opportunities and other things that pump a lot more than XRP, especially considering it's in the top 5 now, right? But I do think if you're looking for stable growth over time, I think XRP is a decent play. Look at that. When I started purchasing Bitcoin, it was on 102,000. DCA lower it to 82,000, taking profits now. That's how you play the game. You get it. Oh, I love to hear it, dude. Shout out to Lizards. You can take small profits without wrecking your position depending on your portfolio, of course. Agreed. What was the Trump thing in the beginning of the live stream? They did they announced the deal between the US and the UK. Are you personally more bullish on XLM or HBAR? I would give them an equal slate. Like, I would say I'm probably equally bullish on both of them. Alrighty, guys. Well, look, we're going to go ahead and probably wrap it up soon here. So do keep the questions coming. If you have any questions, anything you want to say, let us know in the chat. I'll pop it up for you. While you are leaving those questions down below, do not forget that if you want to see the things that I am buying, that I am selling, if you want live updates when I'm making these buys and these sells, if you want to become one of these people in the community who is absolutely printing gains. I mean, we've seen millions of dollars in this community over the last couple months. I could literally just endlessly scroll for eternity at this point, and there are gains and gains and gains and gains. If you want to be one of the people who's locking in gains just like this, learning how to create strategies, learning how to create systems, check out the school linked down below. And don't forget, if you do want to start trading over on BTCC today, the link is available for you down there. But we're going to answer a couple more questions, then we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. I'm going to go eat some breakfast, and we'll keep the ball rolling, baby. I like to troll. No, I didn't sell 7 years ago. Sleepy Z, I think you're lying. I think we called you on your shit and you started lying. Signed up for your school. Any chance of a read on Redstone? Yeah, ask Lewis. Go to the TA request chat and ask him to do a technical analysis report on Redstone, and he'll send it to you. That's one of the cool parts about the school as well, guys. If there's any crypto that you want a technical analysis report on, you can ask one of our coaches named Lewis over in the TA request chat, and he'll give you a full report right back to you on multi-time frames. It's amazing. Sleepy, my question for you is this. If you're a hodler and you see the value of Bitcoin, why criticize people who want to take profits and realize gains? I'd love to hear it. How far do I think Sui can go? I mean, I think reasonably Sui can probably push like $10. I don't see a reason as to why I can't. Not like right now, but in general. What is the next resistance for Bitcoin? Well, right now it's $101,400. Sleepy, I think you're lying. I think you've had a moment of enlightenment, and you're welcome. Okay, guys, so look, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. I probably am going to end up going live again later on. So stay tuned for that. Stay tuned for the vids. Oh, I will let you know. I know some of you have questions and you probably want to ask me. I've obviously can't get to all the questions while we are on live stream. So what I want you to do is I want you to head to the link in the description down below right now. And here, watch, let me show you. Head to the link in the description down below right now. Go follow me on Instagram. Tyler Hill YT _. Go follow me on Instagram. Send me a DM. If you need any help with anything, you need help signing up for the school, whatever it may be, go send me a DM. I post behind the scenes content. We post new content every single day. This is content you're not getting on this YouTube channel right now. Go get it. Extra tweets, extra information, extra knowledge. I have a huge thread right here. Literally, this thread is gigantic. It's a huge thread. So feel free to go check it out. Go follow me on Instagram. That's where you guys can get direct access to me if you need any help with anything. So feel free to go do that. Of course, I hope you guys did enjoy today's live stream. It's been a hell of a day. Congratulations to all of you taking profits, and I can't wait to see you all next time. See you later, everybody.